What if your team is already using AI, but you're not really managing it yet? Gallup's newest research gives us a pretty clear signal about where AI is headed at work, and more importantly, what managers can do right now to make sure their people aren't just using AI, but actually getting better at their jobs because of it. Well, welcome to the Manager Lab, the podcast where we take the latest ideas in leadership, management, and the workplace and turn them into something you can actually use with your team. I'm Greg Gillum, and today I want to talk about AI, but probably not in the way you think. We're not going to talk about the latest AI tool. We're not going to talk about whether AI is going to take your job, and we're definitely not going to spend the next 7 minutes talking about technology for technology's sake. Instead, I want to talk about something that I think is much more important for managers. How do you actually help your people use AI to do better work? That's the interesting question from this research. Gallup just released it, and there's a pretty straightforward headline. Organizational AI adoption jumps 6 points. And buried inside that headline are some numbers every manager should pay attention to. Let's start with the big one. Gallup reports that 47% of U.S. employees now say their organization has integrated AI tools to improve productivity, efficiency, or quality. Now, that's up from 41% just a quarter ago, 6 percentage points. That's a pretty significant jump. But here's what caught my attention. Over half, 52% of employees say they're personally using AI in their role already. So we've got over half of employees using AI individually, while less than half of say that their organizations have actually integrated AI into the way that work gets done. So think about that. Your employees are already probably experimenting with AI, even if your company doesn't promote it, especially you as a manager. They may already be figuring out ways to save time. They may already be using it to write, research, analyze information, prepare presentations, or solve problems. And in some cases, they may be doing all of that without much guidance from their manager. And there's the real opportunity. But it's also the risk. Because if managers aren't helping employees figure this out, employees are going to figure it out anyway. They're going to figure it out on their own. Now, here's the research where it gets really interesting. Gallup found that the most common uses of AI are pretty basic. More than half of AI users are simply using it for emails, for writing, editing, that kind of thing. Almost half are using it for search and research, something that they would just probably use Google for. And about 4 in 10 are using it for general assistance or problem solving. Now, all of those are valuable, but they're probably not where the biggest opportunity lies. Gallup found that some of the more specialized applications, things like coding or automation or analytics or preparing sophisticated presentations, are associated with some of the strongest reported productivity gains. And that gives us our first Manager Lab lesson. Don't let your team's AI strategy become, quote, let's use AI to write emails. Now, that's a starting point, but it shouldn't be the destination. As a manager, I want you asking a different question. Where does work get stuck? Where do people spend too much time? Where are they doing repetitive tasks? Where are they gathering and organizing massive amounts of information? Where are they starting from a blank page? And where are they doing work that is necessary but doesn't necessarily require the highest value human skills? Those are all the places that I'd start looking for AI opportunities as a manager. Here's the second finding I really want you to think about. Gallup found a strong relationship between the number of ways employees use AI and then the productivity benefits that they report from using it. So, for instance, employees using AI in just 1 or 2 ways were much less likely to report significant productivity benefits. But as employees began using AI across 4, 5, 6 or more applications, the percentage reporting positive productivity effects climbed dramatically. Among employees using AI in 7 or more ways, 90% reported a positive productivity impact. Now, We have to be careful here. That doesn't mean you should walk into the office tomorrow and say, okay, everybody needs to find 7 ways to use AI. That's missing the point. The lesson is that the people getting the most from AI aren't necessarily using it for one isolated task. They're figuring out how AI can become part of the way that they work. And that's a management opportunity. So here's a question you can ask employees this week. Don't ask, are you using AI? That's a terrible question. Almost everyone can give you yes or no answer to that. Instead, what part of your job takes more time than it should? And then ask the follow-up. Do you think AI could help you here? Now you've got a conversation. So maybe it's preparing for the weekly staff meeting. Maybe it's summarizing information or analyzing a report or just getting off that blank page and creating a first draft of something. Maybe it's automating something that they do every single Friday afternoon and they've been doing it for years. That's where the manager comes in. You don't have to be the AI expert. You just have to be the opportunity finder. And that's a very different role. Now, there's one more finding from Gallup that I think may be the most important one for managers. Gallup's broader research shows that manager support is one of the strongest drivers of AI adoption. Employees whose managers actively support AI use are dramatically more likely to use it frequently. They're also much more likely to believe that AI gives them opportunities to do what they do best every day. And they're much more likely to say AI has actually transformed how their work gets done. So let that sink in. The technology matters, but the manager matters too. And you can buy software, you can give everyone access, you can send emails saying, hey, we've launched our new AI platform. But if the manager never talks about it or demonstrates it or encourages experimentation, never connects AI to the actual work of the team, then don't be surprised when adoption stays low. So what should you actually do? Let's talk about 4 things you can do as a manager to really help you integrate this research. Number 1, put AI into your one-on-ones. So ask, what are you trying with AI? What have you learned from AI? What's one task that you'd love to make easier that you think AI could help you with? That conversation is far more valuable than sending someone to another AI training course. Number 2, pick one workflow. Don't try to transform your entire department. Maybe find one recurring process or experiment. Maybe it's meeting prep or customer communication. Maybe it's research, but just pick something real and then ask, can we do this better? Number 3, share the wins. If someone figures out a great use case, have them demonstrate it for the team. Take 5 minutes. That's it. You start creating an environment where people start to learn from each other. And then finally, number 4, measure the outcomes, not the AI usage. This one is really important. Don't celebrate because everyone is using AI. Celebrate because someone reduced a 3-hour task down to 30 minutes. Celebrate because somebody improved the quality of an analysis. And celebrate because an employee eliminated repetitive administrative work and now has more time to spend with customers. Because AI adoption isn't the goal. Better work is the goal. And that's really the message I take away from this Gallup research. We're moving into a different phase of AI at work. The question isn't simply, do we have AI? And it isn't even, are our employees using AI? The question is, are we redesigning the way we work so our people can do their best work with AI? And managers are going to be right in the middle of that conversation. So here's your manager lab experiment for this week. Take one person on your team and ask them this. What's one thing you do every week that you think AI could help you do better, faster, or differently? And then, and this is the important part, try it. Don't create a committee. Don't schedule a 3-month AI strategy project. Just experiment. Because the organizations that ultimately get the most from AI probably won't be the organizations that simply bought the best technology. They'll be the organizations where managers help their people figure out how to use that technology to do better work. And that's something every manager can start doing today. I'm Greg Gillum, and until next time we meet in the Manager Lab, do good work.